Usually takes me forever to get these videos out, but for this one, I want to, well, I meant to get this out actually a couple days ago at this point, by the time you guys see it. But, yeah, Latte from Acustica Audio. This is the first time I'm opening this, and hopefully it's not for a project I can't show you. That's fine. That's fine. Alright, so, fresh off of the conveyor belt, the plug-in conveyor belt is Latte. And before I open it, I'm going to show you the user manual. So, Latte apparently is based off of some German audio company's modules for mastering. So this is a mastering suite primarily. But I believe, as always, you know, you can use these different processors during mixing, during what I call the recording phase or virtual recording studio phase, or some people call it the mix prep. So apparently it uses something called the, I'm going to mispronounce this because it's German, Wien-Robinson bridge principle. All right. I don't know what that means. But here we go. Apparently all the equipment in this collection is worth over $30,000 on the hardware market. And obviously it has Acustica Audio's hyper technology. It's the first stereo mastering EQ that supports hyper. Yeah. Oh, here we go. It's got a Nuvu filter. I don't know what that is. It's also got a Baxandel EQ. I do know what that is. Basically, it is a high shelf, of course. Steam. Hold on. Let me get rid of. I can't get rid of Steam. I can't. Earlier, my computer had to be shut off, and I have not put a CMOS battery in it. So anyway, when it restarted, the date was wrong. It caused a bunch of software glitches. Anyway, filtering. Yeah. Baxandel, basically, you can really, really crank up or crank down the low and high shelves, and they still sound really good. So that's cool. Also has a multi-band compressor, from what I understand. Right? It's got a compander, which means that it can take a track that had too much compression and make it sound like it has less compression. Let's see how well that actually works in practice. But cool. I know that's how my wireless microphone stuff works. It's got a compressor on one end and an expander on the other. And the idea is that it has less analog noise being transmitted wirelessly. Okay, so here's why I think there might be more than one equalizer in Latte. Because it has this dual mono compared to the stereo one. I don't know. I might be wrong about that. Again, I'm literally just digging into. So let me open up the first module, which is Dynamics. All right, so that's one of their flat-looking GUIs. I'm not always. I prefer the hardware look, to be honest with you, but resize is good. Fills up my 1080p screen very well at the 1.5x size. If you want to see what it looks like smaller, there you go. And I believe, yeah, 2x is for the 4K, or really 2x for 2.25 is for 4K monitors, or really 1440p. Maybe. So this is cool though. You know, I will be honest, like for compressing purposes, I do prefer flat GUIs. For EQ, I prefer not being able to see what the filter looks like. I like to listen with my fingers and not my eyes, or whatever you want to call it. So let's see. Ratio, goes into the negatives. What is that about? Oh, that's right. It's an expander too. Well, that's cool. Okay. I'll get to that later. Here's the dyne. So it is a dynamic processor which has decompressor and expander. I'm sorry. Compressor and a decompressor / expander. I'm going to assume that decompressor is what the German company calls their hardware. Yeah. It can act as a pump-up compressor to add density. All right. Yeah, I'll be honest, expanders are something I really have not dove into all these years of me doing audio work. Now, obviously, noise gates, technically an expander, but, as far as using them for some other effect besides noise gates, haven't really touched it. Okay, here we go. See, 4-band compressor. That's cool. See how well that works. And then we have, all right, the Nuvu filter. What is that? Doesn't really say right here. Okay, well. Keep scrolling. Here we go. Latte pays homage to rare and revered German modular audio systems that have defined high-end mastering and mixing workflows. In the 1970s, modular cassette-based consoles became the gold standard for professional recording and broadcast studios. Designed with stringent quality standards, these systems featured interchangeable processing modules known for their pristine sonic accuracy, dynamic range, and reliability, many of which remain in use today. Really? This modular philosophy led to the development of highly specialized mastering tools that provided exceptional headroom and tonal precision. Latte continues this tradition, delivering the sonic integrity of premium analog hardware in a modern digital format. All right. And is that it for that? Okay. Here we go. Interesting. This project was further refined in collaboration with Dragan Tanaskovic, a renowned Swedish sound engineer and former co-manager of Studio Bohus, one of Sweden's most iconic recording studios that hosted legendary artists such as ABBA, Status Quo, In Flames, and more, who recorded and mastered some of their most celebrated songs there. In the early 2000s, Dragan commissioned a custom-built high-end mastering chain, which was provided to us for state-of-the-art sampling. This allowed us to bring its sonic excellence into the digital domain as the Latte plugin suite, offering a modern interpretation of these celebrated analog tools while preserving their sonic depth and musicality. I'm an analog tool. Okay, it talks about Acustica's hyper technology. If you're not familiar with it, basically, it uses less disk space, less RAM, and it supposedly sounds even better than Acustica had before. That's debatable, but let's go with that. Latte's filters. Okay, here we go. Let's see if it talks about this. It's got a bunch of preamp emulations for your saturation needs and equalization. Okay, here we go. So here's all the preamps. Number 1 is for the EQ. Number 2 is the preamp stage from the distortion module, determining overall harmonic distortion. And I guess that's all the harmonics, including the odds. Number 3 is just the even harmonics. filter is a preamp stage for the filter module. Okay, so yeah, that's a different, what do you call it? Similar to like API or the 500, yeah. 500 series is the most easy way to put this. So back in the day, there was no decided upon modular system. So I believe these different companies had their own different modular systems, and they had different ones for different processors, similar to how we have plugins. But in this case, there was just the filters, and I guess that filter module by itself has its own sound to it, just running audio through it. Just the same, if you run audio just through the compressor, same deal. You know, transformers, op amps, tubes maybe. Who knows what's going on. All right, so here we go. We have the Alive feature, which is great. If you've ever worked with hardware and ran it through Plugin Doctor, I know it's called Plugin Doctor, but you can use it with to analyze hardware too. Plugin Doctor will show these dynamic signals being changed, and it's pretty neat. And basically, Alive mode emulates that, and then it allows you to create more of that, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Here we go. Mimicking the nonlinear characteristics of real analog gear. There you go. And then as usual, there's the different listening modes. So over here, so it's just listening. You're not just affecting that audio. You're only listening to that portion of the audio. Oversampling, that's good. Preamp selector, we just talked about that. All right. So what? This is the filters. All right, let's see if they have a filters plugin. Yep, there it is. Obviously, got to make this bigger. Is that big enough? That should be all right. So here we go. Like I was saying. Wait a minute. Is there? Oh, I was about to say, is there 2 ones? But no, it's just the number that you're on right now. Makes it a little bit easier to see. So there you go. Amps 1 through 5. To enable them, you turn them on. If you ever get confused on whether something's on or not, Acustica, just go to their listen mode and see how this is like more white than it is gray or dark gray. That means it's on. Okay. All right. So the filters, we have input trim and ultra mode. Where's the input? There's the input trim. And the difference between an input gain and trim is that as you increase the trim, it's also decreasing the output into the rest of these modules or processors. But if you decrease the trim, it raises the level again prior to the processing. So it makes gain staging a lot easier. And let's see. Alive mode. I just talked about that. So where is that? Oh, there it is. It's all the way over here. Why are they talking about it for the... So it's like they go from... So off. Where's the off button? Okay, it's not an off button. It is a bypass button. So that needs to be fixed in the manual. Okay. Input trim. Do they have it labeled? No, they don't. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't see... Oh, wait a minute. Maybe they're just referring to this being off. That's a possibility. But if not, this is how you bypass the entire plugin. It's being bypassed right now. because this is all white or mostly white, and now it's not being bypassed. Okay. Next up is listening modes. I already talked about that. Down here, left, right, or LR is your default. Oversampling is in the upper right corner. Yeah, by default it's on 1x. Essentially, oh, it's freezing. That's not good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, wait. It's working now. Alright. So basically, the way I like to tell people is if your audio is at 44.1 kilohertz, it might help to put oversampling at 4x. Or also 48 kilohertz. If your audio is at either 88.2 or 96, then 2x oversampling might make your audio sound better. But 96 kilohertz might be just perfectly fine. But if you're above 96 at, I believe it's 176 point, I forget, because I don't ever do that sampling rate, but I'll show you guys. 176.4. There we go. All I got to do is multiply 88.2 times 2. That gets that. Or if it's at 192 kilohertz, you don't need the oversampling. But you might not need the oversampling anyway. So, let's try to get through this video before the melatonin kicks in, which it pretty much already is. Preamp selection, all right, we already talked about that a million times. Size, I already showed you guys that one right here, right? Display provides, okay, display is, I'm assuming it's this area right there. Real-time visual feedback on the plugin's filter operations, including shelving and NIVO filter behavior. Engages the low shelf EQ. All right. That's cool. So on the low shelf, we have plus or minus 10 decibels. By default, it's on the 9 decibel per octave. Wait a minute, is it displaying the correct thing? Because it looks like that's steeper, doesn't it? Look, when it's out at 6 decibels per octave, shouldn't that be the smoother looking one? Yeah. Let's see if this one's the same thing. Yep. Yeah, you would think that it would be the opposite. I'm going to write down that as a note. Let me make sure this is technically correct. The slope control. Yeah, so basically when Acustica Audio releases a brand new plugin, they have something called early access. So basically it's the time where you can give them feedback on whether there's bugs in the software. So that one might be a bug. Let's see. Okay, high shelf, same darn thing. So this is more than just, you know, a filter like I thought it was going to be. Like, this is actually an EQ in this. So that's pretty neat. All right, the Nuvu filter adjusts the relationship between highs and lows while keeping the mid-range unchanged. Sorry, not unchained. Turning the control to the right increases the highs and lows. Okay. So it's a tilt filter, right? That's what it sounds like to me. Oh no, this is beyond the tilt filter. That's cool. Oh, this'll come in handy. There's your bypass button. Oh, this is sweet. Yeah, this is gonna come in handy. Because I don't think I have one of these. All right. 800 hertz is the neutral point. It's got an S-shaped curve. Nice. Okay. Okay, Latte EQ. Let's load that up. I'll come back to Dyn at another time. That rhymes. So regular EQ. Oh, let me let it load. 1.5 should do it. Nice. Oh yeah. All right. Dual mono, 4-band. Looks pretty simple to use. Yep. It's got a preamp emulation. So this looks a little different from the preamp selector in the filters section, but it could still work. Okay, pre-button. Okay, pretty much self-explanatory. So Ultra, the idea of Ultra is if you're really gonna distort the preamp and crank up the input gain or the input trim, enable Ultra. It uses a little bit of extra CPU, but it's more realistic saturation. But I pretty much, unless I'm having CPU issues, I'm going to always have the Alive option on, which is why I recommend using this stuff for what I call the recording studio, virtual recording studio session. So you can have all these high CPU, high latency, high RAM usage plugins, and alter your audio to make it sound the best it possibly can before you drop it into a large mix section where you're not going to be able to use these better plugins unless you have like maybe a newer CPU, but even then you run the risk of crashing a session. So even though it is 2025, bouncing tracks, rendering tracks, freezing tracks, still good practice. Okay, so this is, let's look for the bypass button. This is like Where's Waldo every single time. Okay, right here. BYP. All right. Okay, so oversampling in this module goes up to 16x. Wow. Oh wait, never mind. That's a misprint. Darn it. All right, I'm gonna say, what is this? Page 8. Okay. And low frequency. I'm assuming these are shelves. Well, the good news is, as it should be, when you raise the Q value, it becomes narrower. So, if anybody ever has it the opposite way, then they win against the grain, and it's confusing. Which again is why you should use your ears and not your eyes. Okay, 10 decibels. High pass button. Here you go. Okay, good. And you can choose in between frequencies. Nice. Low pass is over here. Very responsive GUI. It's another good reason to use the newer hyper plugins, because it's just much quicker on the processing. Even on an older processor, like the one I have is from, I think, the year 2013. But here we go. Here's the stereo EQ. I'm assuming that's this one. Yep. This is it. Ooh. I hit the wrong one. There we go. Well, this is a heck of a interface. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of this, but I guess the primary thing to do is to adjust these handles. I just control-clicked to reset it. Let's see if that, yep, if you use your mouse scroll wheel, the Q is adjusted. It looks like this is just a low frequency, not a low shelf. So that's cool. It's good to know, actually. It is the first in the Ultra line to incorporate the new Control Link technology. That's interesting. I'll have to see what that means on here in a second. Alright, input trim. Where is it? Okay, it's down here. Control click. There we go. And I think if you hold shift and are using the mouse wheel, it gets you like very, very precise controls down to the decimal point. See? But if normally that's what it does. Control click. Control click. Okay, next. Same as always. Okay. Ooh, why is that like a... It's like it's grayed out or something. I don't like that. I don't understand if that's even working properly, like how this is. Why is it grayed out like that? Like this is white, but this stuff is grayed out. Is it working? Yeah, something ain't right. I don't like that. I'm gonna see if that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, yeah. Huh. That's weird. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you think that's weird or not. That it's like a different shade of white. This is called EQ ST Ultra. Okay. That's cool. Like I said, it has a polarity or phase button. MS mode. Oh, good. It's got a mid-side processing control. That's cool. Interactive display. I was just showing that one off. The low pass. Let's enable that. Low pass. Oh, and it does show up. Look at that. Where's the high pass? Okay, at the bottom. That makes sense. All right. Oh, here we go. So this one always kind of confuses me. But so Hyper EQ is like the hardware styling of the equalizer. EQ Eco is low CPU usage, and but it can have artifacts in it. So not always recommended, but it might be a flavor you like. So Hyper EQ Digital. So basically what it does is it takes, you're still getting like a hardware sound, but instead of like, let's say the real EQ at 4 decibels was really, 4.2 decibels. Well, the digital mode corrects that. So if you're using 4 decibels of gain, you're going to get 4 decibels of gain. So that's that mode right here. And then digital 2x, I believe, it's an oversampling for the EQ. The problem is that it uses more CPU, just like it says right there. And it says use hyper mode first and digital 2x for certain situations. So that's what I'm going to do. Preset browser, here we go. Let's check out some of the presets. Wow. So as I was saying, this is more than just a mastering EQ. It could be used with mixing. It can be used with tracks or buses. It doesn't matter. Like just use it. Try it out. Clicky metal kick. Let's see what that does. Ooh. You can also use these arrows right here to go through the presets. Deep 808 kick. Nice. fat rock snare. Now, what does this interface remind you of? Huh? I won't say it, but I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Alright, anyway. Latte Dine. Is that pretty much it? Did I talk about... Yeah, I mean, I don't know why these over here are the dark gray. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to ask Acustica about that. Next is DYN. Okay, this one has the decompressor slash expander and the compressor. Okay, input trim is down here. Oh, we got a pre-trim as well. So the pre-trim controls the signal drive before processing. Now, why is it only in this module? Why don't we have it somewhere else? I don't know. Anyway, auto mode, automatic gains compensation. Well, that's pretty neat. There's our selection between compressor and expander. Makeup gain ratios. Yep. Oh. Knee display. Oh, you can't turn that off. Never mind. And we got true peak stuff going on. Side chain. Oh, the famous SH mod. So the cool thing Acustica could do is, you know, obviously they emulate hardware. But if for some reason the hardware just is not working for some track that you're feeding it, they added this shape modulator thing in a lot of their compressors. I don't know where it is on here. Hold on. Okay, over here. So on 2.0, that is when it is on the hardware emulation setting. But you can change this. Oh, sorry, wrong control. You can imagine why I'm gonna have to cut that out. Ooh, control clicking makeup gain does not take it back to 0. Hold on. Yep. That's a bug. Yep, there you go. Alright. So SH mod, it's about the attack curve on the compressor, and it just makes it where it's better than it will be, than it needs to be, or is, I should say. It makes it better fitted to the track you're trying to make it work with. That's the best way to put it. And the fact that this has attack hold and release hold is very cool too. And to explain what that means, enhances transient handling through adjustable timing. Attack hold preserves transients that are shorter than the set time, preventing them from being compressed immediately. So let's say you have this set to... Oh, I'm grabbing the wrong thing. Yeah, I don't like when... I guess that's how all of them are. Alright. So let's say you had this on 4. Now I'm going to assume this is 4 milliseconds. So in addition to the attack time, which is actually different, the attack hold doesn't allow the attack time to even kick in, even if it goes past the threshold just a tiny, tiny bit. That's the best way I can explain that right now. Hold on, I'm double checking on all these other ones, make sure they go back to the right setting. Oh, nope, the mix control goes to 50. All right. What else? Stereo link is good. Power's good. So external sidechain, you set that up by enabling this, and then in Reaper, you go up to here, you enable these things, I think, or maybe you don't even need to do that. No, you do. Sorry. So you enable these, and then you get a track to feed into that. I can explain it in another video, but basically a sidechain, the compressor is being triggered off of another track, not the track that you have the plug-in on. So typical usage would be, for me anyway, the kick drum track triggering a bass guitar track so that the bass guitar stays out of the way of the kick drum. Or a lot of times I'll use it on rhythm guitars so that it doesn't interfere. I'll use it on the guitar bus essentially so that it doesn't interfere with the vocal, or when the vocal kicks in, the guitars go down like maybe a decibel or two. So that's the idea with external sidechain. I think that's pretty much it for the compressor. Hopefully it sounds good. Oh, here we go. It has some dithering built into it so that you can use this as a mastering compressor. Under normal circumstances, I would say keep this off. But if you're into this kind of thing, Psychoacoustic 2 might be the best option along with 32-bit if you're not using this as the very last plug-in in your chain. But then again, you might not need any dithering. But if you set your bit depth to 32 bits, it pretty much doesn't matter which one of these you choose, I don't think. So other than off, you probably don't want to have it off, but maybe you do. But if otherwise, I think Psychoacoustic 2 or Smoother 2 is your best option if you're going to like make a CD or something. I don't know. Okay, this video is about 45 minutes long at this point, so the neat thing about Acustica's flat compressor plugins is that it does have a digital display, so you can see gain reduction happening in real time, and it just makes it easier to control than using your ears, as it were, because sometimes you do want to use your eyes when mixing. You don't want to overdo something, so that's pretty cool. Oversampling is in the upper right corner. You can go up to 8x, which is neat. Let's see if that matches in the manual. Yep, manual's good. And this doesn't explain the dithering modes like I was just telling you guys. I don't know why Acustica leaves that out of the manual, but essentially it starts with the worst quality dither, and then it goes to something that's probably going to sound more quote-unquote analog. So anything from 4 to 8 I would typically use. TPDF isn't bad, but it's a bunch of noise. But again, at 32-bit, you're not going to hear it. So 16, you might, depending on how loud you have the music. Okay, here we go. Multi-band dynamics. Huh. Let's load this up. Ooh, it's already a large GUI. I don't know if I like that or not. Okay. Well, the bad news is at 1.25x, it still has that issue where the GUI is like, it's not as sharp as it could be with the 1x or 1.5 or 2x. So that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I'm gonna be squinting when I use this one. But it does look like they put the controls I'm not going to be using that often on the very bottom. So basically if I get these to be, whoa, speaking of noise, well, I don't hear it, but you can see it. So it looks like, yeah, all these controls are the least used. So if I do put it in 1.5x, let's see where it cuts off. Ugh. Okay, so it cuts off basically everything below the SC line. Oh, that's not too bad, actually. Okay. Well, there are crossover frequencies to concern myself with. At 1.25, what can I see? Oh, good. I can still see the crossovers. So this one might be the ideal format for 1080p, or the ideal size. Okay. So next up, this is where I need to pay attention. So, ironically, 4-band compressor expander and ideal for mastering. Okay, tight low end control. Interesting. Refined mid-range enhancement. All right. Every single band has threshold, ratio, attack, release, SH mod. Wow, no wonder there's so many controls on here. Okay. Well, it looks complex, but it's not. So basically the way this works, just like on a channel strip on a mixing board, your controls are pretty much divided up along here. So every control is essentially the same. Maybe a minor difference. But the idea is that these controls are all duplicated across all these different bands. I'm looking for the EQ. I guess this would be the EQ. Not really an EQ, but crossovers. And then the idea is that each threshold affects just a certain range of frequencies. Similar to a de-esser. A de-esser is technically a multi-band compressor. Well, that's cool. This probably takes up a lot of CPU, I would imagine. Yeah, look, I'm not even using it, and it's at 7%. So yeah, definitely a mastering or pre-mix processing thing. All right. So each one of these has its own knee display. That's kind of interesting. But it does not have one of those waveform viewers, obviously, because the plugin itself is already really big. Okay, so we can either do from the top, compressor or expander. I already showed you guys size. There are no presets currently for this. And then we have ratio. All right, hold on. Well, the good thing is these controls are in order with this manual. So knee display. All right, wait a minute. Knee display is duplicated. So I'm going to write on there. So page 14. Oh, knee display and ratio are duplicated. Yep. Gain. After compression, the gain of each frequency band can be varied. Whoa, wait a minute, really? Well, where's that at? I'm assuming it's there. It's weird they would put that there, but is that prior? I don't know how that works. No, I mean, it makes sense. If something is being compressed heavily, then the makeup gain, you would want to have that set to whatever. Checking the control click. So by default, the attack is 16. Release is 210. Now, you know, you could pretty much just load this up as the default setting and then just adjust the threshold knobs on each one of these. You know, I could imagine this would come in handy for bass control. Piano, it might come in handy for. Bass, I was going to say bass guitar is notorious for being difficult with some compressors. Yeah. Release control. See, this is inaccurate. Attack. Yeah, because you can choose in-betweens. So this is actually page 15. Okay, attack hold, release hold. That's crazy, it actually lets you do that. Up to 4, whatever that means. Again, I don't know if that's milliseconds or just 4 stands for something. Oh, here we go. Power, adjust detector characteristics. Fast peak mode is harder compression. Slow RMS mode is softer, more natural. But you know what? Yeah. Solo button. Oh, this is going to be important. this control right here, so you can hear what it's compressing for each band. Wow, that control should be a lot bigger than that. But I guess they ran out of room. I was thinking they should also have put it a little higher up, but oh well. Let's see. Sidechain listen. Allows you to hear the equalization applied to the sidechain signal. Okay. Wait a minute. You're telling me I can have an external sidechain? Okay, that's the sidechain listen. Oh, here's the sidechain button right here. So I can grab that from something else. So I could have the track I'm using right now compressing, except the low end. The low end I can grab from another track. That's interesting. I don't think I have a plugin that does that. Cool. Well, now I do. Okay, preamp, linear phase button. Okay, that's cool. I'm assuming that yeah, CPU went up to 10% with linear phase being enabled, and that has to do with the crossover frequencies. When that's off, it goes back down to about 6.5%. Wow. Okay, auto button. I don't see an auto button. If anybody sees an auto button, let me know. I'm gonna question that one in my notes to Acustica. Drive. Okay, there's the drive button. Or knob, or control, I should say. I still don't see an auto output button, so I'm going to assume that's a misprint. But everything else looks good, I think. Mix control, oh, that's good. It has a dry and wet control. So you can do parallel processing, that's nice. Also has dithering options. Over here. So I imagine myself, I'm going to probably start the mix or start this like this, because then I can see the knobs easier. And then if I need the other stuff, I'll just switch back and forth between the sizes. So, cool. Is that it? Yep, that's it. So thank you all for joining me for this instructional video. It hit right at the hour mark, so I'm going to have to go through this. There was a few times I had some belches in there, and probably said the wrong thing or said something ridiculous, because the melatonin is definitely in full effect right now. But anyway, I'm going to go back and edit this tomorrow and listen to it and get it out to you guys, hopefully by Friday night, if not Saturday afternoon is my goal. I guess I'll just go through the rest of this. Yep, there we go. Latte. Other coffee themed plugin, because they have coffee and they have cream. So this is latte. This is it'll be interesting to try this one out, because I'm not familiar with the German company. The German company that shall not be named. So, anyway, I've talked enough. Check it out for yourself. Let me know what you think. And I'll be making a much shorter video with sound samples on the original, bigger Real Home Recording channel. See ya.